Okay, calling all coaches. If you are an executive coach, career coach, life coach, business coach, health coach, any sort of coach, actually, why don't y'all put in the chat what type of coach you are so we can get to know who we're talking to and how we can help. All right, today we're going to try to go through very, very quickly. You know, sometimes you see these webinars be like an hour. I'm going to shoot for 30 minutes. Might go a hair over. We're going to try to get you all this information in 30 minutes. We're going to go through all the legal things you need to know to start your business nice and comfortably, and you're going to see all the benefits you get from it. So I like to start real quick with, what do you want to get from your business? What is your why? Why are you starting a business? Is it freedom? Is it more money? Is it extra income? What is it? Put it in the chat. It's good to know this and clarify it, because it helps us. You know, there are some moments in starting a business, there's ups and downs, especially early on. It helps us clarify. So put that in the chat for us so we can see what you want to get from your business. And I'll tell you some of mine here in a little bit. So who am I? I'm Wesley Henderson. I'm a business lawyer. I live in Charleston, South Carolina. I've been doing this for well over a decade. I've started hundreds and hundreds of businesses. I've handled lawsuits and trials and disputes and trademark issues and anything that can come up. I pretty much serve business owners, you know, in my career. I find it extremely rewarding, and I love running. I like the business side of running a law firm. I do it along with my brother. We've got about 12 people in our law firm, and then you know, I also like being able to help people on a budget, which is why we are here today, to deliver those same things you can get from a law firm, but on a much smaller budget, because I've started my own business and I know that you'd rather spend money on the business itself and not the legal parts. So we're going to walk you through everything you need to do very simply. We're going to make it nice and simple for you and make sure that you are legal and you can avoid headaches. The biggest mistakes my clients make, you're going to learn from some of these and make sure you avoid them, because they're expensive, they're annoying, and they get in the way, and you don't want to make them. You're going to figure out how to pick your business name. You might not have known that this could be a problem for you, and that's why you're here, to learn that it can be. It's rare, but we're going to avoid it to make sure that it is not going to happen to you. To protect your personal assets, you probably know about this one. This is the LLC conversation. The agreements, you know you want agreements. You might have one from someone else. You might have put your own together. We're going to talk in depth about what you need to have in there and what types of agreements you need. There's a lot of Karens out there. This seems to be the easiest way to explain. I'm a lawyer, so I see difficult people creating problems that I don't really see in the rest of the world that much, but I'm aware of. We're all familiar with this kind of Karen meme, the people who send 2 meals back. They're never happy. They're yelling at store managers. They're just, you know, it's sort of the internet's joke from several years ago. But the reality is that this person is out there, this person is angry. They come in many, many forms. And a lot of what I'm going to teach you today, and a lot of these templates and all, are going to help you have something to defeat the Karen from being able to win against you and drive you nuts, basically. Here, I've got in here. Have you ever, type 1 in the chat. I assume there's going to be lots of ones. If you've ever encountered a Karen, someone you just, you know, it's just like every day is a bad day and they're just out to make everything difficult when they don't have to. All right, so some of the types of problems you might, you know, run into running your own business and a coaching business. You might get a cease and desist. This is that business name conversation primarily, but it can be some other things. That means if you don't do, you know, and come from a lawyer, if you don't do what I'm telling you in this letter, then I'm going to sue you. So that could be the trademark. You're using a name that I have a trademark, and if you don't change it, 30 days, I'm going to sue you. It can be just regular disputes. You know, businesses end up saying, oh, you cost me lost profits. Also, that name can end up being a legal dispute, disputes over money, disputes over damages, all sorts of things. Getting paid, clients that don't pay you, not having a clear route for recourse, not having a clear system. And there's some tricks we're going to teach you on how to make sure you get paid. every time and on time. Cancellations, you're a coach, you set aside an hour or whatever your session is, you expect, your clients to show up. If they cancel 10 minutes before, well, what do? Do you just let them off the hook? It's fair to say, hey, I had this time set aside, I was prepared, and there are many things I could have been doing, including serving other clients in that time, and now I deserve to be compensated as if we held that time. You want to set fair rules here. Our agreements have clauses that are fair, that clients understand. They say, I understand your time, but you have to explain this stuff too, and make sure that they see it, and make sure it's in your agreement. We also put in our agreements, except for an emergency. We're not trying to be too rigid here. We're just trying to be fair to ourselves and to hold people accountable. We're setting aside time, so we want to see you there as well. A misunderstanding on deliverables. We see this a lot. It's he said, she said, oh, I thought your proposal said you would do this, but then on the call, you told me you were going to do this. And then later on, we said we're going to do this. This is where the clean agreement, just one agreement that gets signed, really comes into play, because that misunderstanding goes out the window almost entirely, because you say, nope, right here is what we said we were going to do. Breaches of contract. You didn't do what you said you're going to do in this agreement. So making sure the agreement, and this is why we don't just grab them from someone else or online, they need to be yours and fit your coaching business, and we're going to help you do that, because they can say, oh, you said in here you're going to do it, but you didn't, and here's a lawsuit. Poached employees, something you might not have thought of, is you've got someone, you're growing or you need help with serving a client, and you've got someone who gets approached to work with an existing client. Somebody can come steal that employee. We can set up our relationship so they can't take your employees, undercut you really. Then you're gonna have clients who are angry about their results. This is where disclaimers come in. You gotta be real clear with these, explain what you can and can't do. So here's a positive benefit of going through our legal plan that we're gonna show you here in a minute. The systems and processes. We're gonna make you think about things you may not have seen. We're gonna see around the corners. Pitfalls, some you may be aware of, some you may not be. This creates clarity when you have an agreement with your clients. They know exactly what to expect. That's extremely important when you're running a business. We have clients a lot of times who will approach us that are having some sort of dispute, and they just assume the worst of the other side if they hear nothing. And a lot of times there's nothing nefarious going on. So clarity really helps communicate to your client, what's going on, when you're going to do it, that sort of thing, because they're going to assume the worst if you're not communicating with them. This clarity creates good relationships, and good relationships will grow your business because you're going to get referrals. They're going to be happy with you. Okay, what we're going to be helping you do, Drafted Legal is an online legal service. So it'll be in, a DIY, somewhere between hiring a lawyer and just getting something off the internet. And do you even need legal yet? I hear that. As soon as you are ready to start making money, you need legal. So if you're gonna, we always say, if you're gonna take yourself seriously enough to try to get a client, then you need to take it seriously enough to get your legal in order. It also speeds up the growth of the business, because that client then sees, they a lot of times wouldn't know if you've been in business for 3 years or 3 days, because businesses that are successful end up having this stuff anyway, because they learn through experience. So it helps you look the part of a good, experienced, and thoughtful business. It also protects your personal assets and those other things we've talked about. I don't know what I don't know. So, a lot of times we'll search on the internet, this or that, and just kind of, paralysis by analysis. We're going to make that really easy for you. We're going to tell you everything you do need to know. We're going to hand over these templates. We're going to help, there's going to be a few sentences in there like pricing, that sort of thing, and the state you're in that you will edit. And that's how you're going to know you're doing right, because we have a video showing you exactly how to do it. They don't take very long, a few minutes here and there. The main agreement's probably 10 or 15 minutes, and you will have your own agreement that you've customized. And then if you stick around, we'll have that extra bonus that'll help you make sure you are doing it right. I can't afford an attorney. That's the whole point. We started this business. We get calls all the time. I have constraints. I want to get home to my family, so I can't help every business in the world, but this can help your coaching business and alleviate having to go spend a lot with a lawyer and still give you that peace of mind so that you are protected. Common mistakes. I told you we're going to talk about mistakes my clients make. This runs the gamut of all sorts of businesses. No liability protection. You don't have to get an LLC through us, but get an LLC. Don't be a sole proprietor. This is what my kids do when they sell lemonade. Don't do that. It's too risky for how expensive it is. It's not very expensive. The filing fees in most states are between $50 and $150, maybe $200. Some of them have annuals and a lot of them don't though. Huge protection, huge bang for your buck. That separates, all the bad things from your personal life. Waiting too long. This is, it's kind of waiting too long to start your business. I did that. I waited too long to start Drafted Legal. I waited too long to start our law firm. You don't want to wait too long on your legal stuff. Don't say, oh, I'll do it another day. Just knock it out and you'll feel good. It doesn't take that long. It's simple. Don't wait too long. No signed agreements. The rich, angry man would be powerless against my client if we had the right agreement that was signed. Instead, we're a year in, thousands and thousands of dollars spent, and a lot of misery along the way. The signed agreement, this is what, the problem without it is you might be right. Like an email can create a contract, or a phone call can create a contract, but how do you prove it? So if someone's angry and they're willing to lie, they're gonna say, no, that's not what happened. How do you prove it? The signed agreement makes it where you can point to something and you can get things dismissed. And also, most people, if you show it to them, they'll be like, oh, I didn't realize that. It might take them a couple of days to come to that feeling, or they can take it to a lawyer and say, hey, I've got this thing going on. They're gonna say, well, you signed the agreement. So it really can prevent a lot of these problems. Poor response to disputes. There's two parts to this. One is the legal part. Don't ignore. We'll have somebody who gets served with a lawsuit and they do nothing until later on. And that puts them in a really bad situation. So that's free advice. If you ever get served with a lawsuit, go to a lawyer immediately, because you can lose your chance to make your pitch. But the other part of this is just like your day-to-day disputes with your client. Someone's upset, they send you an email, you're terrible. Maybe this sort of Karen personality comes out of nowhere. Wait 24 hours before you send that email back. We see a lot. Once a situation gets inflamed, you don't want to throw gasoline on it. Wait 24 hours, think about how you can resolve it, be composed and measured when you go back to them. Because once you send that email, you can type it up, you can do whatever you need to get it out of your system. Just don't send it, because once it goes, it's going to be a fight, and it's going to be email after email, and it's going to make you fume. It's just the way it is. So don't send it. Try to resolve it on the front end. And remember that everything you send, if it does become a real dispute, then becomes part of the discovery. So everybody's going to read it. So just don't send it until you're feeling composed. All right, here's the process. Let's get to work on building your business, giving you a game plan. We're going to set up get you the right business name. We are going to get you in an LLC, and we're going to get you contracts. So here's what we have. You need to go to the uspto.gov to search your business name. If it is just your name, like Wesley Henderson's Coaching, you can use that and you can zone out for 30 seconds. But if you're going to use a different sort of name, Apex Coaching, something like that, you need to go search uspto.gov. This is a really easy mistake to avoid. Make sure no one else has a trademark in the industry. So if it's in retail clothing and their name is Apex and you are a health coach, you can still use it. We're just making sure there's nothing that can be confusing. So make sure that you are not using someone else's name, because with the internet, Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest, someone's going to see you and they're going to get confused between the person who owns that trademark, and they're going to tell them about it. Now you're going to get a cease and desist that says, change your name right now or else I'm going to sue you. You're going to have to. You're going to have to rebrand your website, everything. So don't infringe on someone else's name. The next is when you start having a brand worth protecting, you don't need to do this today, just have it on your radar. Go get a trademark so that if someone else starts using it, and it's usually by accident, but let's say they start using it and people go to their website thinking it's you, and so you've done a lot of hard work. Maybe you were on podcasts or written a book or whatever it is to get your name out there, and they go to a different website. That's not good for you. You've done all this work, so you can make them change their name if they're look similar. So what you're doing, you're avoiding the cost and those cease and desist letters there. The next, this is the LLC conversation. This is what it does. It will protect your personal assets. It will put the debts on the business. If we're ordering inventory, whatever we're trying to put everything on this coaching LLC so that it becomes its own separate business. It also, let's say you're just starting, it makes you look like a pro. It's just the way it is. We always say how you do one thing is how you do everything, and clients feel that. So if you have a very professional website, you have a professional, you're an LLC, you have templates that you're handing people, agreements, and they are fair and they look good, they're going to feel very comfortable that they're in the right place. They could be interviewing you and someone else. They won't know, if someone's a little sloppier to begin with. The people who've been there for a while have all this stuff because they've learned through trial and error at a minimum. Problems arise, so you can tell when someone knows what they're doing because they have it all set up, and we think that's a good look. So here's how the LLC works. An LLC in 2 minutes. An LLC is, they're created to help encourage you to start these businesses, really, and not risk everything that you've saved, not risk your, whatever your assets are, your personal banking account, your furniture, your cars, your homes, your, whatever it may be, anything you hold valuable, by separating into an extra LLC. So if you get sued, the LLC is what gets sued and not you personally. If there's a judgment saying you owe money, it's the LLC and not you. So all these bad things on one side get blocked by the LLC shield. The types that you'll hear things like, should you have an LLC or an S Corp, a sole proprietor or LLC? Clear those up really quickly. Sole proprietor is someone who has nothing. Don't do that. Just there's too much exposure for it. The rates of lawsuits right now and jury verdicts are through the roof. It's insane. Don't put yourself in that situation. Just get the LLC. The LLC versus S Corp is not a true. It's a misnomer out there. Anyone who says that doesn't really know what they're talking about. An LLC can be an S Corp. So an LLC is an entity. An S is how you file with the IRS. So you can take an LLC to your accountant and say, how should I file? And they should say as an S. And you're an LLC and an S. It's not an either or. Basically, if you're an LLC, it's will you be taxed as a partnership or an S? And those are your options. So you're not limited in any way by getting an LLC. Here, Karen, this is what the illustration. If you get sued, would you rather have Karen versus Coaching LLC or Karen versus insert your name, Wesley Henderson, on the lawsuit? It's a big difference. None of us want our personal name on this lawsuit. All right, this is the third step. We're gonna get contracts for you that answer the right questions and have the right things in them. They're gonna talk about price. They're gonna talk about cancellation policies. They're gonna talk about the rules. So let's talk about some of these clauses that are really important. Services, exactly what are you gonna deliver? You need to be really clear. This is part satisfaction, but part making sure that your client doesn't have the wrong expectations. The price, is this hourly? Is it per month? Is it a 6-month sign up that you're signing them up for? When is payment due and what happens if you don't pay? Disclaimers. I'm gonna take a hot minute here because it's particularly important for coaches. you're a business coach, you're trying to help the owner get more profits. You're not the one who wakes up at 6 a.m. having to put the work in for the business, having to go to the lunches or doing whatever you recommend. Your job is to help coach that business owner to get the most out of themselves. Obviously, you can't control what they actually do. You're just trying to help them along. We need to disclaim what we can do and what we can't do. We're not magicians. We are here to help. And so for most people, that will be helpful. But you're going to have to disclaim results. You're going to use marketing to say, look what I did with these past clients, or look how I can help, I can do this. But at the same time, you need to be really clear. It's like, I can't guarantee that. Basically, you're not allowed to sue me if you don't make more money. You know, I'm here to try to help you, but you're the one who's running your life, your business, your health. You're here to help them. And this is how we protect you from it without kind of taking the legs out from under your marketing, because there are big things you can do. We just can't guarantee them. Attorney's fees is a really important one too. Let's say a client owes you money, or someone's stolen some of your work product, some of your graphic design, some of the content you put on your website, some of the process content, onboarding. Well, you got to go sue them. You know, you've seen how expensive it is to get a lawyer, and this, if you have this in there, and a lot of agreements do not have it, you can recover your attorney's fees. So the whole idea here is to prevent having to do all the lawsuit stuff anyway. And this one actually helps you, because you can go to that person. Let's say a client owes you $1,000, and you say, look, I have this provision in my agreement and I don't want to enforce it, but if you don't pay your $1,000, you are going to end up owing me the $1,000 plus late fees, plus whatever attorney's fees I incur to go collect it. So you can say, you can pay $1,000 in the next week, or you're going to end up owing $20,000 at the end of the year. So it can help give them some urgency. Again, it's leverage to help avoid that. And then if it needs to be there, it is there. We got to talk about if someone cancels their sessions. That needs to be discussed on the front end. What happens if someone terminates a 6-month contract? Here, we're not trying to be punitive. We're not trying to be Comcast or whoever your cable provider and, you know, lock you in forever. But what we are trying to do is be fair to ourselves. We may have foregone other opportunities. We might have a full book of business, you know. So when someone leaves unexpectedly, had we known that before, we would have been able to fill their spots, fill that income, fill that time. So there is a time period that it's fair to ask for them to continue to pay. And I think most people agree with that, as long as we've discussed it ahead of time. I told you earlier this big stat about people getting sued. I also saw on the same website that less than 1% of contracts get sued. So do this important work, and your chances of getting sued on these contracts goes down rapidly. There's another, you know, this is, I say trick kind of jokingly, and it's, we want you, I tell my clients this with big deals, small deals, coaching, you need to be in an agreement that's fair. Where the client knows what they're going to get, they know what they're going to pay. We're not trying to trick somebody to be in a service agreement with us. If the place to get a deal is on Black Friday, buying a TV, buying a product. When you're dealing with services and humans one-on-one, you want everything to be really clear, and you want both people to be excited about it. If you don't, one of the parties is going to try to get out of it, or do halfway effort, or be late on payment, or not pay. And we're trying to avoid those situations. So the trick, I say, is to get a deal, a fair deal. Just be honest, forthright. If there's a problem, like, oh, I'm not sure you're understanding that you have to pay by the 5th, or I'm not sure you're understanding when you have to pay, or I'm not sure you're understanding your obligations. And then get it signed. Take it all head on. We don't usually have any problems with our agreements with people saying, oh my, this is some sneaky clause. That's not how we practice law. That's not how we run business. We want to have a good, honest conversation, then just make sure it's captured. And then everybody's going to be happy. If you don't have that agreement, well, you're back to the rich, angry man thing. Everything's going to be your fault. You're not going to be able to prove it. And that's just sort of the temperament of this world right now, is suing. You don't want to get blamed. If you get the agreement and say, look, we agreed on this. All right, so we set you up, got your right name, got your LLC, got your contracts, but what about a business license? The answer is you do probably need a business license, but I don't know for sure because every single city is different. Every city, county, wherever you live. So I'm in Charleston. I would Google Charleston Business License Department, and I want you to do the same thing. And there will be a department and a form for you to fill out. Even if you work from home, you're supposed to get a home occupation business license. They have different names, but there will be a way for you to contact the people in your city or county to get that sorted out. You need to get a separate bank account. So go to whoever you bank with or business, or you can get a different separate bank account if you want. The important thing to know here is that all your business expenses need to be in this bank account and all of its income needs to be here. You don't need to run it out of your personal account. That can get rid of that LLC shield that we've built for you. So, you don't, if someone says, well, look, there's groceries and this isn't a real LLC, they're just living their life and kind of do this a little bit. It needs to be everything in there. Also, that'll help you with business deductions later on. Do you need insurance? I'm going to recommend you get at least 2 quotes, no matter what type of coaching business you are. But there's a lot of coaching businesses that it's not necessary. If you are doing health at all, I would recommend you get it, just because if someone gets injured, something happens, even if you've got all the agreements, they still might find a plaintiff's lawyer to sue you because the risk can be so high. And the cost should be very low for a coaching business. So get the agreements, will be a line of protection. Your LLC will be a line of protection. But when you have things, someone can blow their back out or have some sort of weird reaction or, health things that can be very expensive, it'll probably give you a little extra peace of mind. We do have some more information that'll be available at the end to help talk about the different types of insurance as well. All right, that was quick. I know everybody's got a lot to do. Trying to do this quickly and simply. So this is what we've learned today. I can make this simple for you. I hope that was very simple. It's just a few steps, knock it out, and you'll be feeling so good. You're gonna research your business name, you're gonna get an LLC, you're gonna use contracts, and this is a big one, use that 24-hour rule. Don't let disputes become bigger than they need to be. So tell me what, everybody's kind of got different information they've started with. Tell me what the most helpful thing was for you today. I would love to learn what it is what gap we can fill for you, and what you found the most helpful. I hope it's lots of things, but I'd be interested to put in the chat what you think the most helpful one today was. And so now we're gonna move towards giving you your actual roadmap that accomplishes the things that we need you to accomplish. So you're just gonna follow this roadmap and you're gonna be all set. We call it the coaching legal bundle. You're gonna get an LLC, you're gonna get the templates you need. We call it the wisdom. You're gonna get the wisdom you need, the experience. Don't go through trial and error on everything. Go through trial and error on the business, not the legal stuff. The benefits of doing all this. We're gonna help you avoid the pitfalls that all these clients, people make the first time around. It's gonna save you tons of time and money. We're also gonna save you time by, we've all done this, you research, let me use this agreement, or let me research this product, let me research, hours on hours researching, you end up more confused than when you started, and then you just do nothing or just grab whatever, whenever you get exhausted, whatever's in front of you. Don't do that. Save that time, invest in yourself, get the right templates the first time. This is also going to show how professional you are to your clients. These agreements are gonna look good, they're gonna look fair, and they're gonna do a great job for you. They're gonna give you peace of mind knowing that you have all of your legal fundamentals in order. This is important. I talked about earlier, you're gonna help attract the right clients. You want people who want to come ready to work with you, that respect your time and that respect what you were doing for them. And then, this is a lot of the reason people come to lawyers. Well, what do I do if it all goes wrong? There is recourse in our agreements. We can hold people accountable if we have to. You've heard a lot of what I'm saying is about preventing it, because I would like to see you focus on helping people and not having to chase this stuff, but it's there if you need it. Things like the attorney's fees clauses. All right, here's the coaching legal bundle. This is everything you'll get. LLC, it will be filed for you. You'll get an operating agreement. That's the governing document of an LLC. Very important to get the veil protection we're talking about. Can be filed in any state. Each state has a separate filing fee. It can be $50 or $100, and that's a government fee you can blame them for, and that'll be added. Templates, you'll get lifetime access. I've drafted these templates. Most of them started with real clients in my law firm, and then we've made them where you can use them. So we've learned about coaching businesses, we've learned about the pitfalls, and now we're handing those off to you. They get updated periodically as things happen, and they're specific to you as a coach. And then the wisdom part, we have a short little bite-sized videos that is a Business Law 101 course, and it talks about all the things we've talked about, but a little bit more in depth. If you want to know more about insurance, you want to know about trademarks, you want to know more about these clauses, it goes into more in depth. All right, so probably wondering what agreements. I keep saying you need all these agreements. Well, which ones exactly? It's not just one agreement. There is a main one, and the main one is the coaching agreement with your client. And that's really the one we're talking about, all the clauses you need to have in there. That is an important, your most important agreement, because it sets the tone there. But you also may hire a virtual assistant as an independent contractor, or you may hire a graphic designer or someone to handle a YouTube channel, or another coach. You might hire another coach, either as an independent contractor or an employee, and that you need an agreement. And one of the most important things, you need to make sure all of your intellectual property is owned by your LLC. That's what this agreement makes sure. So we're going to clarify things like price, but also in there, it's anything you create for this business is owned by the LLC. So whoever creates something, if I come up with a logo, I own it unless I assign it to you, even if you paid me for it. So we need to make sure that gets assigned over. An NDA, this is a two-way benefit, meaning you might have a client that you're interviewing, you say, oh, I'll sign an NDA to look at your business. This wouldn't be for every single coaching business, but if you're going to look at, you could be looking at someone's, profit and loss statements and, important things about their life they don't want shared. You can say, oh, I'll sign this NDA to look at it and see if we can work together. And then you can have it signed if you're sharing. You may be getting someone to help your business, and you can be sharing it that way as well. It's also in that coaching agreement. They're in those non-disclosure things with clients, but this is for, other scenarios that it comes up. Your website, you need a privacy policy. You need to be compliant. This is one that will obviously be continuously updated as new laws come out. Terms of use, specifically for coaches, we're going to have disclaimers in there to protect you. We're going to be saying, hey, we're going to do all this great stuff, but we can't guarantee it. And that's just being honest. It's helping them know what we can do and what we can't do. And then if you do hire employees, you'll have an agreement ready to do that. I said it before, the right clause matters. We went through some of the things. Is you have to get paid on time to run your business. So we have clauses in there that create late fees. They set it. So sometimes it'll say, oh, due on receipt. And that can work, but let's say I send it to you due on receipt and you pay 5 days later. It's better to have this sort of time to pay, and then it triggers a late fee. And that gives people urgency to pay. So you don't want them to just think they can pay, whenever. There's a urgency. You got to make them pay, and then it's like, hey, you're overdue. A refund policy. Are you going to give refunds? What happens if someone backs out? What happens if they sign up and want to, back out? They're unhappy. We want to address any type of termination or refund in there. How are we going to handle canceling? How are we going to handle terminating? We have the 6 month or however you set it up. If they terminate early, it's fair for you to get a few months paid anyway. An IP policy, probably one of the more often overlooked. If someone takes your content, you need to take it back and you need to be able to show that it's yours. Without it, you're not going to be able to go anywhere with it, and it's going to feel very bad if you spend all this time getting something in shape, and then they take it. Disclaimers that actually protect you, and then a choice of law. So if you're working with people in Texas and Ohio and New York and California, you need to have an agreement that says if we have a problem, it happens here in my state, and then you can sue them there. Otherwise, it's very difficult because states have rules on who can sue in their state courts. So I'm in Charleston. If I'm working with someone in Tennessee and there's not a South Carolina choice of law provision, it's going to be difficult for me to sue them without going to Tennessee. You want to do it in your state. Testimonials, you can see over and over. We've set up hundreds of these. You can see peace of mind, easy to use templates. We're making this as easy as we can for you. Without having to pay high legal fees. This is easy for a business owner to understand. Thanks for bearing with me. I hope it was helpful. I'll open it up to a little bit of Q&A. You can just put it in the chat. Some of these are coming through private. I've gotten a few earlier. So, okay. Can we edit the agreements from one client to the next if our pricing changes? Okay, so I guess thinking like maybe you'll charge different or have a different commitment from one client to the next. Yeah, so the way the documents are set up is we put in red where you can edit. We want there's certain ones we say don't touch, like the attorney's fees. But your pricing. We have it set up so you can use it as is and change it per hour, per session, per month. They're very user-friendly, but we want you to be able to customize it on your own. So yes, it's very easy to do that. You will have like most of it set up, so you'll just be editing small things. And that's what's so important here is that you know where to touch it and where not to. So I hope that helps explain it. Shoot us an email if you've got another question about that. All right, what is the registered agent for an LLC? We didn't really touch on that, so I'm guessing you're getting that from just prior knowledge. So a registered agent for an LLC is just where the mail goes. It's like if you get sued, if Coaching LLC gets sued, there's an address with the Secretary of State in your state that says where to go. You can pay companies to do it. We actually recommend, if you're the face of your business, that you be the registered agent, because these companies try to get you on these like subscriptions, and unless you're trying to be anonymous or you live out of the country, it's just kind of a waste of money in my opinion when you can be it. So if you're not in those two scenarios, you can just put your own work address or home address. You might want to, have people not see that, but that's what a registered agent is. If I have an LLC, can I buy the template bundle? Yeah, I touched on this, a few minutes ago. Obviously, if you got an LLC, you can buy just the templates. You'll see it on that sales page, and you'll still get the free 15 minutes if you do it in time. Do these templates work for every state? So that's a really good question. They work for coaches, and they do work in every state. Some states may have particular laws. The only way you're going to alleviate that is by hiring an actual lawyer. I get templates all the time, like the state of South Carolina to have an arbitration has a particular thing you have to put on the front page. If you're in California, you're going to have a gazillion rules, but each state is different. This is an agreement that is set up to be enforceable, but there may be clauses in that state that I'm not aware of, or statutes, requirements that I'm not aware of that you would only know by talking to a lawyer in that state. These should do a great job of setting your relationship with your client, but there's always that chance there.